Hello, welcome and welcome back. This is Jacob, and today we're going to be continuing the narration for the currently rerunning side story, A Walk in the Dust. And for people who want to jump ahead to the actual story and skip this intro bit, timestamp in the comment section. But for now, we begin with on the last episode, or rather on the last part. We have learned that the story takes place in several different times, beginning with the modern times where operators Heavy Rain and Sessa are trying to rendezvous with a medical team from Rhode Island that is currently in the Sargon deserts. They are waiting for them. They are not appearing, but suddenly someone else appears. A certain sand soldier joins the two of them. Heavy Rain is heavily suspicious of him, as a former soldier should be. Sessa starts conversing with them, and the sand soldier starts to playfully provoke them. let's say that way. By just saying that he knows where their operators are, but he's not telling them. He does tell them, of course, at the end by just saying, well, they're right outside, they're all fine. You can go and have a check, which Heavy Rain proceeds to do. After this little bit, we jump back in time by 22 years. Sargon Desert still, but this time we follow a young Elliot, who is our sand soldier, aka passenger in the future, as he is currently on the run by also carrying a certain package with documents or blueprints inside of them, plus also carrying the the dead body of his beloved teacher. He is on the run because their entire unit, called Sand Soldier, got ambushed by a bunch of different mercenary groups, and he is pretty much the last survivor. He went into a house, gets ambushed by one of the mercs, who then proceeds to be skewered apart by a certain monster. Kal'tsits' very own pet, shall we call it. And Kal'tsit obviously walks in. And one thing stands out immediately. Even 22 years ago, this woman did not look much different, even has the same originium crystals poking out of her skin 22 years prior. But they have a conversation. Monster digs a grave. They bury his teacher. Kal'tsit says a sort of prayer in Wuvierian language, and they proceed to go with the merc squad that Kal'tsit is part of. The squad then later gets ambushed. They run, hide in a cave. Kal'tsit negotiates with her current merc group that they are with, considering they have amused the notion of maybe capturing them or just killing them and grabbing the package of the kid. But she negotiates with them. They see reason, and they plan to proceed through the escape route that Kal'tsit gave them, while Kal'tsit and young Elliot, together with the package, will go a different route. We then, at the end of that part, see that the group itself got ambushed, and pretty much all of them are gonna perish. Then we proceed to jump a bit further ahead, 17 years in the past from modern day. This time, somewhere in Ursus, a small little village that lies close to a path that one of the mobile cities passes around. In the village, a maybe not young, the right word, but a doctor by the name of Liliana tries to find her former colleague and director by the name of Kal'tsit, who is apparently there right now, and as we see, is treating someone who got attacked by a originium-infected animal and will now suffer from oripathy himself, because originium did enter his bloodstream. They later have a talk. Liliana wants to recruit Kal'tsit, or rather is asking for her help to assassinate a certain duke who is currently in a resort during the winter time. And why do they want to go for the assassination? Well, apparently, as we learn, the research institute that Kal'tsit was working on before coming to this village got pretty much completely butchered. Everybody working there got brutally killed. This duke they want to kill is or was the head honcho of the whole thing, and Liliana harbors a lot of fucking resentment towards the guy. But Kal'tsit obviously agrees, not because she also wants to kill the guy, but because she is obviously worried for her old friend. And then we hop a little short time after that into the resort, see Kal'tsit yet in another costume, and they proceed to snoop about and gather information and find an opening as how to proceed with that thing. If anything that this story teaches us, Kal'tsit likes to cosplay, and we are not getting a single one of these costumes. Joking aside. Today we will proceed with the story on stage 3. Like every stage on this, besides the ones that have no stories, this one has a before and after part. So let's begin. Once more, at a different freaking time and place. Oh boy. This stage is called Cactus Dunes. Says Elliot silently takes count. A total of 315 cacti on the dunes. I love how this text is basically just following along Kal'tsit and Elliot as they are running for the most part. But yeah, let's begin with the before story. "13 years ago. 8:09 p.m. Heavy snow. Victoria Border, Autonomous Region, County of Toron, Vincent Manor. What a splendid blizzard eve. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, welcome, please come in. Allow the servants to brush the snow off your tops and thaw yourselves by the brazier. A good evening to you, Count. Truly a magnificent soiree. This is. Welcome, welcome, Lady Diana. To meet you on the eve. Oh, Lady Diana, right. To meet you on the eve of the new year is my honor entirely. Nonsense. Now, take a look. Look, Count. I have a present for you, all the way from Casimir's. What a beautiful pendant. My greatest thanks, Lady Diana, and send my well wishes to your husband. Now hurry along inside. We can't have the snow burying your gorgeous looks. Huh. You speak as fine a line as ever. Oh, look who's here, if it isn't our Baron of Rye. I could never shoulder a title as hefty as Baron, but here I am anyway, the pure nerve. See, what you're saying, we all respect you for the bottom of our hearts. Who spurns the man who feeds his people well now? You're quite right. Once harvest comes next year, I'd be honored if you visit my humble home. The tallest windmills in Toron, the scent of flower everywhere. A stay sure to enchant you if I do say so myself. Quite good. This blizzard shall pass, and next year will come trotting in right behind it with fine, fine harvests. My gratitude for your kind words. Head in and warm yourself up now. We are serving the spiced bread you love so tonight. Of course, baked with the most exquisite, fragrant flour, all sourced from your farms. How about you? Won't you come in? It's almost time. Let your good servants welcome the remaining guests. Perhaps you speak sense, but no matter. I like to greet my invitees personally. They're all the most adorable people, whether noble or merchant, cleric or soldier. Toron is a fine, fine place, isn't it? Why, you character, you. Now, let me see. We still have the Minister and Mrs. Arizona, that admirable lighthouse operator, and... Ahem. I'd heard from my most venerable fellow student, that gifted orator Thompson, that he had recently taken ill, and I couldn't brook the thought of him facing a blizzard for a banquet. Hence my specifically sending for a messenger to send him my well wishes. And yet, imagine my surprise to see what seems to be a sneaky darling of a messenger right here. Here. Aha, Mistress Heidi, how long since we last met?
Uncle Vincent, don't ruffle up my hair, I had to spend a long time making it.
Fine. Ah, little Heidi, you've grown so much. What a dashing young lady you are now. However, your father never sent word you'd be arriving today. Be candid with your uncle now. Have you come on the sly? And I say, you're still quite young. If your father saw you dressed tonight, you'd be in for the nag, wouldn't you?
Uncle, I had him nagging at me. That's why I slipped off in the first place. I heard you called out a gallery of VIPs and bright minds tonight, and I couldn't help my curiosity. Not to mention, my papa always wants me to broaden my scope, get out beyond the classroom, and isn't this the finest opportunity?
Ah, you swear you're not here to see the boys, hoping for a chance meeting? You know, your father's told me you've been absorbing all those tawdry romance novels lately, and it's been worrying him so.
How could I? I'm not such a naive girl.
Your father worded it very well. Romanticism is all and well, but writing aiming to be consumed, pulling wool over the truths of life, so as to curry favor with the readers and writing the last drop of worth from its material. There's nothing of value in it. In that regard, all of Toron ought to be learning from your father.
Ahem. Uncle, let's drop the subject now. I feel embarrassed hearing this. And honestly, my papa, telling people off left and right when he was young, and in the end he made himself a businessman, made himself a huge fortune. The old guard in the association constantly joke about him. It drives me mad.
Some things up life's sleeve you just can't refuse. Oh, well, imagine Thompson did it for you two ladies. Back when he was younger, he'd find any chance to grumble about his unrecognized talent to me. How's his health been lately?
Just his chronic pains. Once winter's gone, he'll be live and well as ever.
So you wailed yourself while your parents couldn't watch you, made off with your mother's clothes and came to join the festivities?
Right. Oh no, I came on educational purpose, just as my father guided me.
Heidi.
How about you? You just never saw me.
You've been quite too headstrong this time. Look at this awful snow today. Just suppose something had happened to you on the way. How would I ever explain to your father?
Well, Uncle, you see, it's too late now anyway. I can't find a car and head back now, can I?
Oh dear child. Quick in, don't you freeze now.
Hooray! You're the best, Uncle. But what are you still waiting for? Is there still a guest noble enough to wait like a snowman at the door?
Quite an outstanding Laterano cleric. Last year your aunt caught some illness unawares, had a fever that wouldn't abate, and it's thanks to that cleric that it vanished. We struck up Concord afterward, and I paid frequent visits. This cleric's not just fine with medicine, but has original views in all walks of life. Truly a mind-opener.
Huh, well, if you vouch for them like this, they must be really incredible, right?
But of course, if a person of those talents could swear loyalty to the Vincent family, it'd bring a deal of vigor to building the local land. I've never had every intent to invite that cleric along. I even had every intent to invite that cleric along as a friend on my journey to Londinium, and your aunt would appreciate the diversion, but would you know our rotten luck? Out of business. So today, mark my words, I'll be introducing that insightful scholar to one and all.
Uncle, is that Laterano cleric a gentleman by any chance? A refined manly sancta, maybe? Or the older side, or...
There it is, you little scamp, swearing your pure intentions even.
Just asking.
Don't get too excited. She's a meritorious woman, and she isn't a sancta. Very rare to see, but all suggest she's a feline cleric. I truly do appreciate people like her.
Ahem. Uncle, I didn't hear any of that, and I won't brief a word to Auntie. You can cross my heart.
And what silly ideas have you gotten? I really ought to make Thompson give you a proper word or three.
My apologies, Sir Vincent. Might I have arrived late?
Get used to this. Get used to that Heidi face. Anyway, continuing with the after story. Ah, Cleric Kal'tsit, you're finally here. Your mode of dress.
I was deeply honored by your invitation, but without sudden matters to attend to, the monastery could not prepare suitable evening attire for me. I found out this outfit buried in the storeroom. I hope you shan't mind.
Oh, quite naturally I shan't. I'd go so far as to say your attire is utterly formidably gallant. Heidi, you don't just stand there. Here, this is Cleric Kal'tsit. Give her a greeting, and then hurry inside quickly. Yep. Heidi?
Miss Heidi, it's good to meet you. I'm Heidi. I know it already. An adorable name. So you're Cleric Kal'tsit, is that right? I often hear my uncle mention you. The pleasure is mine.
Cleric Kal'tsit, I imagine you know of Mr. Thompson too. Quite, this is Heidi Thompson before you, that strange fellow's daughter.
I see.
Your father is a person worthy of respect. Right then, do come in, Cleric.
Thank you again for your generosity, Sir Vincent. Oh, did you know the Count went to Londinium? Have you ever been in that city before?
Don't remind me. I once had everything packed up ready, and then a catastrophe messenger came trotting along to say the roads I had blocked. You all go back. I was beside myself returning home. Immediately had a great bout of illness.
Oh my, how dearly wretched.
Is that auspicious poet coming today? I have a few works I wrote in private, and I'd hoped he could do the honor of appraising them. Bears the thought, have you forgotten just how many manuscripts from thinkers Thompson tore up in front of the Count?
Oh, I remember. Thompson's ruthless. He even said himself, the clash of ideas ought to be a ruthless thing. Truly frightening he is.
It's not a be-all nor end-all to show off.
My, but the charm's all in young men like that, isn't it? Metal to dust, romantic and free.
Of course, I admit I once admired Thompson for those qualities, but in front of the Count, Thompson still can't shake off his own deliberate arrogance. Deliberate? Thompson? Isn't it obvious? He regards our esteemed Count, after all. Forget your nobility and status. In these last years, the Count's governed his land with perfect order. It's plain for all of us to see. Huh. Thorin's not his land in name, mind. It's for all of us to manage, but I'll admit the Count deserves his reputation for leading. I do have to respect the man. And lest we forget, he's had multiple invitations to the gatherings at Londinium. Don't you think our little place, allow me to admit, our border situation deserves some sense of pride? Huh, nobles.
My, let's not make that topic so stiff. We're all people of Victoria, aren't we?
Huh, people. Ever since that outrageous hanging, we can barely claim to know whose people we are. simmer down. We all regret Her Majesty's departure, but we can still drink a few toasts here today, you see.
In other words, today is a happy day. Don't bring up anything so frightful. Look, here comes the Count.
I overheard your conversation. Very intriguing, Richard. I'd much like to take a look at your writings. Oh, poppycock, good Count. In comparison to you, my little effort pales like a man under a skyscraper.
That's right, Vincent. Hurry up and tell us of your trip to Londinium. Let us all hear it. Who did you meet? And Grand Dukes? Any Grand Dukes of living legend?
In due time, everyone, in due time. The night has just begun. Don't forget, today is a day of festival celebration. Allow me to introduce you all to two special guests of ours. Cleric Kal'tsit, do come.
Good evening, honorable guests. Allow me to give my most sincere respect to you all. What now, by your appearance? My, you're a lady? Oh, what a mighty shame.
I think it's not much of a shame at all. Cleric Kal'tsit, good evening. Cleric Kal'tsit, I believe I remember the Count speaking of you. I hear you treated his wife and so garnered his good favor.
With regards to the Count's wife, that was no light affair. Do tell us about where you're from. Laterano clerics who aren't Sancta are so rare. My, let alone one so charming as you.
Beautiful miss, where do you come from, and where will you go?
Cut my joke. Aren't I the one asking? Don't you interrupt.
The Count gives words that you're a pillar of talent. Do you have any inclination for philosophy or the arts? Any unique insights, perhaps?
You flatter me. It was only chance I added the Count's wife. I have the distinction of recognition, that's all.
Oh, if you're familiar with the Count, surely you know Sir Thompson too, then?
Of course, Sir Thompson is a rarity of a scholar in Torun. I often hear the Count talk of him.
Then things shouldn't align better. Servant, please fetch the wine I brought. I wish to have a proper causerie with the Count and the Cleric.
Don't you dominate our story, you egomaniac. Can't we all just chat about something fun? For example, that fashion walk in Londinium.
Fine by me, everyone. Just let me rest my legs for a while here. I'll be soaking in the knowledge.
Now, aren't you a lazy one? Your estate would be doubled by now if not for that.
3 wineries still isn't enough. Oh, right, you mentioned you had another guest. I don't know if...
Good evening, Mistress and Mrs.
Heidi, what are you doing here? Little Heidi, you're very prettily dressed today. That bastard Thompson, I fear for all my life. Its children alone were I'll never compare to him. Now, Heidi isn't even of drinking age. None of you had hand her a wine glass. Servants, if you could pour her a cream soda.
Don't always treat me like a child, Uncle Vincent.
But drinking laws are drinking laws. Your father specifically involved. After all, you're at that age. Alright. Strike the cream soda and replace it with ginger ale.
I don't even need you to coddle me like this.
Little Heidi's eager to grow up.
It's sad. No father wants to see his daughter grow up this quickly. I was like that at her age too. Only wanted to buy some jewelry and my father gave me a tongue lashing for it. Even if you won't let me drink, at least can I join the dinner party? I'll sit right here.
It would be my honor, Miss Heidi. Allow me to hold your hat for you.
No need, I'll be fine with it on.
Good, then. Heidi, don't forget that you came here tonight in secret. In a while, you'll be good and sleep for the night upstairs. You dress very like your mother, girl.
But right now... Cleric Kal'tsit, do you think I'm still a child too?
To you, I see no reason why it should matter.
Let me pour your glass for you. Here's your ginger ale.
God damn it.
Thank you.
Is it to your liking?
It's actually quite a nice drink.
Oh my, there is no alcohol in ginger ale, is there? What's gotten your face red? What's gotten your face red, ma'am? You're one to talk. You address that. You're the first one to address that. The girl's wary of strangers. It's nothing new. Sure. Come, friends. Seeing as we're all present, let us officially begin. You're most correct. The height of Lithanians' arts capture all hearts alike, but those Lithanians are far too pompous about themselves. What affords them to look down on us?
Lithanian, oh Lithanian, they've had too much misfortune. I haven't stopped hearing Witch King stories since I was a baby. Who knows if the twin empresses will have managed to sort out that king by the time I visit the place.
Who would visit knowing the terror of the Witch King?
Unlike the monarchs who ascended young, the Witch King became emperor at nearly 50 years of age, and then governed Lithanian for many more.
Undoubtedly, the Witch King is the greatest caster in all our lands. He turned himself into a freak of nature.
He's just like those horrible stories depict him. His horns all bent into strange shapes, emitting this strange energy.
Oh, I've never seen the Witch King shown in newspaper before. Sorry there, this wine is just too fine, but I have seen photos of the twin empresses. Come to think of it, one gleaming gold, one dark as night.
Lithanian is in flux. Presumably the Witch King rarely leaves his tower. From start to finish he's gazed disappointedly at Lithanian, and even when he grants an audience, it's as he casts a grand shadow from atop his tower. Yet the last time he touched the ground, he was morphed beyond recognition. His wretchedness, his two horns cut off by the twin empresses apiece, drew true sights of lament.
The full picture of that coup d'etat is still unclear to us, but to my knowledge, even our most heroically adored wanderer would never match the Witch King's true strength.
This being why, when the Empress's voice arrived at Victoria escorted by the knights, the Grand Dukes were all still willing to suspend their quarrels and treat each other with respect.
Pardon? It sounds as though you've been to Londinium before.
I arrived from there. It was a local Sanctus enlightening me that led me on this path.
Haha, Kal'tsit, didn't I say? These are all wonderful friends of mine. See just now how popular you are? Truth is, I have a girl about the same age as you. She only knows how to splash my hard-earned money away all the damn day. How nice it'd be if she could learn from you.
Getting to know you tonight has been a truly wonderful time. Can I ask if you're still single, dear Kal'tsit? Cleric Kal'tsit.
Oh, Heidi, don't cut in so randomly. You should be heading upstairs to turn in about now.
Allow her to speak, Count. In this day and age, children are always much more mature than we imagine. Cleric Kal'tsit, can I ask if you have been to Ursus before?
Oh, that nation rife with rebellion and violence.
When I was studying abroad, I spent some time at Deity Griffenberg. Are you interested in Ursus? Yes. Papa once gave me a few books to read by an Ursus author.
Ursus only ever produces two kinds of arts. Raucous sensationalism or true eternal greats.
If Thompson liked it, chances are it was the latter, wasn't it?
You lot really do trust him.
Papa really put him in high esteem. He even wanted to go to Deity Griffenberg himself to visit him, but business always meant he had to put it off, and this year, with his old injuries flaring up again, he wasn't able to go.
Your father was injured?
That's right, he broke his knee and then put off surgery for too long, so it's not fully treated.
I warned him, and no idea what happened last year. No idea what happened last year. He came scrabbling back with wounds all over, and all he'd say was he ran into a robber and dropped off a cliff. Wasn't interested in saying much else.
Do you want to go to Ursus, Miss Heidi?
Now that won't do. The death of the last emperor and the rebellions had a profound effect on the country. Should you want to study there, you do well to wait a few years.
I'm just talking about it. What impression do you have of the country? I'll tell you a story. It's the story of how Ursus's 6th army were annihilated without a trace by a bottle of vodka.
Well, this rumor doesn't sound plausible at all.
When any event is boiled down to its cause, its conclusion tends to sound unexpected. We're all used to the process, aren't we?
That does make sense.
It began with a ruffian from the army collecting rent in one of their garrison regions, and without realizing, he menaced a noble. That act fermented the whole way through. The 6th army then were always considered utterly corrupt. The old noble's power rooted too deep, while the 5th army were unconditionally obedient to the young emperor and a brand new state council. We have no way to know for sure who fired the first shot, but as for the outcome, the 5th army ultimately seized the chance to revolt, and in between two cities' paths started a direct firefight with the 6th army.
The prologue to the Grand Rebellion comes in many editions. I've definitely heard a few things of the 6th Army's very deeds.
They thought just like that. If it were that simple, then it wouldn't be dubbed the Great Rebellion. Being a border guard outfit, the 4th Army, with a domain of authority, influence decidedly not in the hinterlands, suddenly switched sides to support the state council, and proactively declared no relationship to the traitors in the 6th Army. After the execution of a few prepared scapegoats, the old nobility had only the 6th and 8th armies left in hand. Come winter the following year, the nobility backing the 8th army pulled that same trick, capitulating alike to the emperor. And so the bitter fate of the 6th army, who had staked it all on one throw, you can well imagine. And the cause of all of this, very simple, one we all know, simply a drunk ruffian taking the vodka bottle he had in hand to attack a young noble.
A marvelous story, Cleric Kal'tsit, and might I even confirm this tale is little removed from the reality at all.
Heidi, I would not tell you that this is how Ursus is. Every civilization in this world deserves you seeing it for yourself. They should be appreciated and have to be reflected upon. In that Ursus you admire, what have you seen? Perhaps the farms and public houses, perhaps the grand heroes, perhaps the highs and lows of life in Deity Griffenberg's opera house. But what I've seen is the Great Rebellion's aftermath, an age on the verge of collapse. Might Victoria have such an age of its own someday? I will not guarantee it either way, Miss Heidi.
How could it be? Here, you little child, are you afraid now because of Cleric Kal'tsits' smidgen story of Ursus? I've no intent to insult the Ursus people, but the Empire of Ursus is unarguably a savage, unreasonable nation.
But right now, isn't Londinium just as...
Don't even say it. Though it pains us all that it happened, did Victoria waver even for a moment? Alright, Count, seeing as the topic comes around, I think it's high time you told us about that trip to Londinium, yes? That's what we're most interested in. What high nobility did you meet? I'd be honored to tell. Truth is, on the way, the Duke of Normandy personally invited me to a shindig together at his flagship. What, and you managed to keep from telling us all the way to today?
My, it was the Duke of Normandy himself. He always did detest Lethanians. Did he and the envoys of the Empress's voice have a scuffle?
No, but by his retainer's words, the good Duke never once made eye contact with those gorgeous envoys that evening. Aha! Now that's the proper manner of a Duke. Ursus's theatrical Grand Dukes might number more in hundreds than tens, alright? Maybe not that many, but they are quite unchecked, and if I might add, somewhat incompetent too. That's a form of arrogance, but I must say everyone who's experienced the Londinium manner for themselves would echo this sentiment. I trust the Duke of Normandy need not only rely on his own power to make those Lithanian greed-blinded extremists know their place for a few dozen years, let alone the fact that we've certainly more than a single duke. Tuckered out, Heidi?
No, I'm still thinking about what Cleric Kal'tsit said. Could I talk with her alone for a bit?
Oh, if we were to talk Londinium without Kal'tsit, it would certainly be much duller.
You flatter me.
No rush. I see the Baron of Rise calling at me, so I'll need to chit-chat with him now. I assure you I'll be back shortly to tell the full tale.
Does this all bore you, Miss Heidi? Huh? No, it doesn't. I'm alright. Fine, it's just I thought we'd talk more about poetry or the wheat harvest, but it turns out not.
Sick of foreign politics. It's what tonight's dinner party was meant for.
I can see you also consider it somewhat boring, don't you? You understand more than anyone, and you can't stand all those people in a giggling gaggle around Uncle Vincent, correct?
You seem to have misunderstanding about me.
We only met tonight, didn't we? You're right, Cleric Kal'tsit.
You can call me just Kal'tsit.
Then, Kal'tsit, could you walk with me? In a while longer, Uncle Vincent will have me set off into the loft. I certainly don't want to go to bed this early. The snow seems to have gotten heavier. Would you mind that?
I wouldn't. Allow me to accompany you.
What a snowstorm.
The biggest one in recent years.
I like the snow, Kal'tsit, and I like my home too.
I know.
Phew, how cold. Everyone's all huddling inside by the fireplace. It's just us two now, Kal'tsit. Kal'tsit. It's so difficult to be alone with you.
You're yet young, Heidi.
Your father shouldn't have left you get involved so easily. But that's what I wanted, Kal'tsit. I wished to do something or other instead of hiding in the warm house, gazing out just as a child would. When winter truly comes, would a single oak of Victoria's be spared from the blizzard? Then, that being the case, we should prepare early.
You resemble your father greatly.
Is that a compliment?
Let's say it is.
Nobody should find us here, so now I can hand these letters to you.
Your father's intelligence operatives are never late. They're the best messengers, workers, and aspirants in all of Victoria, except this time. Has something happened? The young Heidi makes not an innocent step more. She's right. Before upheaval arrives, the young must always be the soonest to prepare.
There are 2 letters, Dame Kal'tsit. One from all of Victoria and another from Casdell.
Alright then. Stage 4 has no stories around it, just the description and the title. Title being Blockade of the Singing Sands. It says here, the shifting of each grain of sand tells a story. As Kal'tsit predicted, the pursuing soldiers arrive on schedule, throwing themselves into the snare. So we are proceeding to the cutscene-only stage, titled Pine Lilies. No patch of soil pays any heed to the blossoming of a few clusters of flowers. The land does not care, for the land encompasses all things. 17 years ago. 2:44 p.m. Clear. Central Ursa's Pine Valley Retreat exterior. Old friend, you are feeling better now? No, you lie down. I'm just here to see you. I'll be leaving soon after. A burden beast's work is never done, and the one who saddled me was myself to boot. What? No, of course. To you, I'm still the same young lad you know, not the Minister of Finance. What's the point in fiddling with ranks? We're all here giving our strengths to Ursa's vast land, striving for the truly honorable future. Pardon? Striving for the truly honorable future our Majesty envisions. We're all His Majesty's people. The few who've forgotten it, still living in the violent past, will sooner or later become orphans of archaic convention. Sorry, it seems government business has built up some steam in me. Don't worry, I can see how my colleagues and fellow strivers are strong in spirit, and I can see how the rot in the rotten eats away at themselves. We will be victorious. Those loudmouth nobles in the army, they and those woodworms will very soon be dust at His Majesty's feet, and we will sweep them out of his way. That's right. The State Council is changing. We'll take everything Ursa's, everything of His Majesty's back from those unthinking, undoing aristocrats' hands. We'll tear the old days to shreds, savage them, profane them. We must open a new way for Ursa's, old friend. I will do it. We all will do it, even if it takes our whole lives. Ursa's needs change. Today? The original plan was next week, but today is the best chance. I just heard the head caretaker say the Minister of Finance's arrival is clearly intended to rattle that spineless coward. Though the minister was unwilling to meet him, he was at least willing to move himself. He's frightened, and fear will make him show openings. His guards might not have been able to arrange for his sudden meeting in time, but he had no choice except to show himself before us as hastily as possible. With another Ursa's VIP visiting, opting to assassinate the Grand Duke is an extremely risky idea, but this place has never been empty of major players, and I can count the number of times the Grand Duke left his area alone on one hand. We're still not certain enough. I'm still not certain enough, but I trust you are. I've wanted to believe even that you could always do it. Tell me, do you still have any misgivings? I'll settle them for you, even if I... Lilia, my greatest misgiving is whether you'll live well as I hope for you to. No matter how you'll regard what I say next, I still must recognize, in Chernobog, all those youngest, richly idealistic, most adherent scientists all gave their lives. I'm not willing to see them die, Lilia. I regard you in the same way right now. I can't do that, Kal'tsit. After this is over, I'll make for Syracusa, then on to Victoria. If you come with me, and don't continue with your plans in Chernobog, then you don't have to die. I can't bear the traitor stamping footprints on my husband's dried blood, not for even 1 second. You're very selfish. I am, so don't you forget my most selfish request of all. Look after my daughter, and if she's willing, teach her medicine. You can surely live on, Kal'tsit. Old friend. Winter this year is very cold, but I trust spring will be warm as it ever was. I still remember the day we first met. It was at the beginning of spring. Attending that speech so brimming with passion, you didn't cheer, nor did you bellow. We noticed each other when our eyes met, and of course others too. No one felt any pride in the successful invasion, those cheering and revering the former emperor's glory, unable to even see the barren land they stood on, having allowed no one else to survive. Okay, so I'm not 100% sure who this guy is supposed to be. I think he is a military veteran, considering some talk later, but I do not know specifically, so if someone is listening to this who has a better idea and can leave a comment on it, please do. Because I really can't put my finger on if it's someone who gets mentioned like later or something. So all I'm trying to say here is he will get some generic voice, I guess. But is spring coming? I do not know, old friend. Perhaps. Spring this year may come slightly early, but my catastrophe messenger tells me, following a fierce catastrophe up north, it may be cooler after some days. Perhaps we may even return to winter. None of us like winter, do we? I don't like it either, old mate. But you did warn me, perhaps I should give up the bottle. I shouldn't be weathering winter with drink. All it does is numb. Drunkenness might get me frostbitten. But winter won't last too long. Just the fallout of a calamity.
This is an internal rest, the most secure method, completely effective and not so fast acting. It gives us nowhere to run. Have you fully prepared our retreat? From the first day we arrived, I'd already finished preparing everything. Perhaps we won't have much time. I understand that, but if we just do it like we practice, we should have plenty of... No. We've taken this sanatorium as far too simple a place. Your plan doesn't need to change. Leave everything afterwards to me for me to handle. What did you find out? Monster discovered traces of the enemy while hibernating. Have you heard of the Grand Duke having dealings with other powers of Ursus or not? No, he's been content here all this time. Monster, is that pet of yours? What did it see? Some Ursus folk legend? I cannot realistically tell you the facts. That would only shrink our chances of survival to the minimum. Ursus has many means. Fears become a lure. Investigating this will only serve to attract your judgment. Trust me. Alright, it's about time. See the blonde feline carrying a bag? He's the Grand Duke's private doctor. I know.
What can a Grand Duke accomplish? Look at these fellows stuck in their old ways. Of course, the moment that half-blinded governor knelt in front of his majesty, he ceased to be of any more of a threat. He's very smart, choosing when it suited to save his own skin. Nothing like some people, putting up last stand for their own selfish gains, even squandering what little live power Ursus had left to deal with, the aftermath of the rebellions. It grieves me so, though I'm no military leader, whenever I see our motherland's production at a standstill, the economy in decline, I lament it deeper and deeper. Did His Majesty pardon these opportunists? They'd put their own interests above His Majesty's, and Ursus's with just 1 inch of slack in 1 heartbeat. Don't condemn His Majesty's benevolence. Compared to putting up with a few shrewd but provisionally loyal nobles, what we truly cannot bear is continuing our endless internal friction. We must think of ways to pull out the weeds and pests. We must sow the seeds. We must, when spring comes again, seed the new buds. For this I've strived. Please pardon my language. I very rarely say such things, but I swear upon His Majesty, I do feel pride in my own present status. Old friend, be reassured those sacrificed cannot complete their undertaking. All those who survived will keep trying and trying. His Majesty will bring a new future to Ursus, even the most stubborn nobles, and those twisted deities, and those monsters planted in the darkest corners of our motherland. They all must fear our Emperor. My duty is simply to ensure this. Halt! Did the head caretaker not tell you? The Grand Duke Vanya has requisitioned this place, and no one is to come near.
I am the doctor on shift today. I am the Grand Duke's medical consultant by all rights. This is my work permit.
You're new here?
Yes.
Grand Duke Vanya's doctors is his private doctor. It's an unwritten rule. Lucky you pretty much get a vacation today. Seeing as it's your first time, I won't blame you, but wander around this corridor again, and your death will not be pretty. Now get out. Find somewhere to spend your vacation while you have it. It's me. Not much. The doctor on shift at the retreat. I'll get them out of here. What? The quack's vanished. But it'd be dangerous to, the Minister of Finance is here. I know. You two, halt.
Yes, we're listening to you. Can I ask if something's the matter?
Come with me. Listen, no matter what you find, it's because of the Grand Duke's same old problems. Don't make a fuss over nothing. Be dependable, take care of him properly. Get out quickly after the sun's down and don't disturb his peace. Treat him properly and you'll be rewarded. Amply. Enough for poor people like you to live happily for a long time.
Thank you kindly. We're honored to have this chance. Kal'tsit, where's your thanks? Ah, right. Thank you kindly, good sir.
Country people, don't mess this up.
We'll pay full attention.
Hold it. It's always one person going in alone. We can't make any exception this time, or the Grand Duke will turn his rage on us. Let the servant go in.
But, sir, I'm the doctor here.
We prepare the medication the Grand Duke takes. You just stay here and wait. And if anything happens, go in then.
I don't understand.
I am saying to wait here for 3 hours on standby. And then you cannot be in there for more than 10 minutes. If it take too long, no matter why, you will not leave alive. Search and then let this servant go in first.
As you command. Grand Duke.
With his back to the light sits an old man, lies an old man. He does not move. He's breathing tranquil, gazing into the far distance. Is it the doctor?
No, I am only a servant.
All right, come closer.
As you command.
Are you Ursus?
No.
Lower your head. Let me feel your face.
As you command.
Ah, Vulpo, or maybe feline. An adorable race.
Are your eyes unsighted?
Yes, a problem from last month. I'm due to die. Suppose it today, suppose it tomorrow. So you've come in vain, child. They won't allow the doctor in. They're murdering me.
Won't you protest? You are a Grand Duke.
Exactly why. I am powerless to resist Ursus. I have since accepted that. How is the weather today? I can feel the sunshine turning warm now.
Not a cloud in sight, Grand Duke.
Not a cloud in sight. It's been long. Since the last day like this.
Do you feel despair?
Despair. Despair is but a passerby of the start. Our endless lives are always suffused with emotion. It neither induces despair nor makes your life bottomless joy. We are all living in compromise. Some would call it apathy, and some would say I am simply reaping what I sowed. Yes, the weather is warming. That gust of wind just now failed to chill me to the bone. Who sent you, young lady?
You've already surmised.
And you are not astonished. Say, I thought some failure like myself would have been scapegoated into the limelight, forever looked down on by the young.
I have never looked down on a single person, let alone you, a Grand Duke of Ursus.
Of course you wouldn't tell me honestly, as to be expected. Let me take a guess. The Minister of Finance? No. He and my affairs are entirely unrelated. He does not possess this kind of finesse to interfere in other stations. If it were his idea, I would rather it his idea. Well then, was it some wood-worn in the army? Those old, timid, cowardly bastards. Not them either. They have simpler ways. Let me guess, young one, who sent you here? Are you still there, young one?
I am.
Was it His Majesty's idea? His Majesty wants an arrogant fool like me to pay the price for his own stupid actions? Oh, I knew that evening was not but a nightmare. Do you know how it feels to be blind in both eyes? From that dark view I had long been used to, I've had some more warped thing. I felt some more warped thing squirming, the utterly sensation of fear.
You mean the fear that cannot even be concealed by blindness?
That was the Royal Guard's will, young one. That evening, the Emperor's blade was only a step away from my throat. What? A paring knife? Let me do it. The journey will be very tight, but if I don't even have the time to peel an apple for my friend, I can't help but be disillusioned. How could I let the Minister of Finance do some odd chore like this? Are you mocking me? Perhaps a Minister of Finance should not hold a knife. You should focus on something else. Don't joke with me, old friend. I'm just peeling an apple. Don't tell me you're about to rave superstitious at me. Look how fresh the fruits here are at the retreat. These'll be good for your health, too. No, Vit, my friend, give me the knife to me. Perhaps I'm due for some exercise, so as not to rust myself away. You're too feeble. You might cut your own hand open. Surely you don't feel a staff officer of the army of Ursus would lack the strength for even a paring knife? No, I don't think that. Fine, old friend. Have the knife. Be very careful. What are you doing? Doctor! What are you doing? Why treat you yourself like this? Cutting your own finger. Doctor! Vit, don't worry. This doesn't hurt like you imagine. My year-round pains have already accustomed me. Don't hurry off now. Listen to me first. Look, Vit. On my right hand, the racket of artillery gunfire shook off some fingers. Casimir's people lopped my right thumb off, and a Higashi assassin made off with half my pointer. I've always felt my right hand was undersold, but taken simply for a knife hand, it felt too much treatment. Now I've cut off my left hand pointer. Here, both my hands are no longer sound. Very fair. What is all this for? Tell me, but from Ursus's wars, these glorious scars I once regarded as an honor all my life, do they truly have any glory to speak of? No, I don't need you to answer me. It's a trifling thing, but see, my fresh wound, blood dripping, this was done by my own will. It awakens me from my grave affliction, allows me to converse with you again. Wait, you will return to deity Griffinburg, correct? You will sooner or later return back to that grand city. Take a piece of my form, my constitution with you. My body was scattered about in campaigns, subjected to ruin, but only this piece of flesh was separated from my own will. I have no children, but this pointer finger, jeer at my foolishness, go on. This pointer finger is the only flesh I have birthed. Take it to deity Griffinburg, bury it in the garden or in the flower pot by the street. Let me live in the earth of deity Griffinburg. Oh, let my flesh become one with Ursus. Take me to deity Griffinburg, to the heart of what all our generations have defended, to the heart of Ursus. Vit. What's with all the people around today? A flock of idiots who don't know the rules. Stay here and don't move. I'm taking a look.
Alright, sir. I don't know what Kal'tsits is doing in there. We don't have much time.
Hey, you! Back to room 116.
What? But my helper is still in...
A servant is enough either way here. No need for a doctor. This is the Minister of Finance's request. If you upset the minister, we'll never survive it. Now leave. You want to see the gallows?
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm going now. Right now. Kal'tsit, quick.
Young one, come, sit here. What's your name?
Kal'tsit.
That is neither nom de guerre nor a nom de plume, correct? I can hear from the manner in which you introduced yourself, I can hear you love this name, don't you, Kal'tsit?
Hard to say. We don't have long, Grand Duke. In a short moment your guards will come charging in here.
Oh, it seems I must make space for the assassin after my own life. There should be right by my side.
Here it is.
Huh. A prudent murderer. Just when did you pilfer it? Please give it to me. Thank you for your trust, young one. You make such ease of it. No matter who sent you, I trust you will become one vastly capable. Sir, this is a servant of the retreat who hails from my homeland. I wish to chat with her further. Do not disturb us until I give the order. Trespassers are in violation of military order. Do you understand? Good.
Where is your homeland?
Right on the other side of Pine Valley. Are you so willing to trust me because you have all your means well prepared? Even if they came charging in, you could still escape unscathed, couldn't you?
I will not answer that.
Or you really aren't from the Royal Guard. You are neither twisted nor terrible. Yes, how could the Royal Guard leave their work to others? They are Ursus's most selfless monitors, only those capable of being weighted on these scales. Will the Royal Guard look at with value? Alright, I've lost, young one. I cannot guess at all at your oh so mysterious past. Why have you come?
My duty lies here.
Kal'tsit, will I pass away painfully? Okay, I think this is very a typo. I think it's supposed to be you will, considering she's giving him a poison that will slowly put him to sleep without any pain. Therefore, you won't is kind of wrong here. So, I guess let me correct it.
You will. The drug will slowly erode your nervous system. You'll fall asleep as though entering a coma and never wake up.
To an old soul plagued by illness, this may even be considered a favor. I thank you. I've been meaning to ask, are you a doctor, a scientist? Do you have a shining pair of eyes? Do the doors of medicine cling to your fingers? Hold on. Did you come for that affair in Chernobog? Kal'tsit. The director who died in the inferno that day, was that the name?
If you truly remember every sacrifice, then perhaps I am unable to escape the all-seeing eyes of Ursus.
Ah, it's you. You're the very Kal'tsit. How strange that you hid from the secret police. What's more, and stole into this place without even changing your name. How did you do it?
There are always ways, Grand Duke.
Some want me dead and some do not. I thought you a scientist, one that should not be so easily fooled. Or could it be some have paid you off? Some have exploited your vengeful rage so as to have me killed.
I believe I have no comment, Your Grace. It is time. I will inject the drug.
Have you signed my death warrant? Very good. This may be leagues simpler than such torture.
It's done, Your Grace.
How much time do I have left?
15 minutes, Your Grace.
Tell me, young one, is the scenery before me very beautiful?
All the land is budding, and the sunshine will feed it, filling with hope.
Is it beautiful?
It's a magnificent scene, but this magnificence is trivially ordinary to Ursus.
Young ones always are good with words. How many of our people could ever see this view? That's right, flowers. My flowers. I scattered seeds. Have they sprouted? Have they begun to bud? These eyes of mine so ruined could not even persevere long enough to see them bloom.
At least you're out of luck. It seems the Empire's winter was determined detrimental to the growth of these ornamental plants.
They cannot bloom here.
In this boundless winter, what did you plant?
When I was young, I took part in a war against Casimirs. Have you fought a war before, Kal'tsit? War is vile and chaotic. Some minutes past the first sound of gunfire, formation and battlefield had lost all meaning. A few knights wounded my leg and bludgeoned my head. I tossed my helmet aside, and as if for my life I crawled until I reached a flower field. In there I blacked out, and was later saved by reinforcements. In my giddy gaze I remembered what those flowers were like. Pine lilies. Yes, after the war I asked someone to bring back some seeds from the frontier. I hated their Casimir scientific name, and so called them by a completely new one. I like those flowers. My city regarded them as a symbol of the city itself. Ursus' soil is more suited to raising them than Casimir's. My wife cared for them oh so well. but they never broke through the soil.
Spring didn't come soon enough, Your Grace.
Ah, the earth of my beloved horses. Now it can nurture hopes of all kind.
It is irrigated too, by the bodies of the poor and the infected.
I don't deny it has likely committed all manner of atrocity, yet even so the earth forgives all. Ah, I feel tired.
That doesn't seem a very convincing excuse.
Excuse? No, young one. I never thought I'd earn any pardon, and I never wanted for one. Only in life's final moments do I think I was able to realize the meaning it was all. Pine lilies. I want to see her again. Leave now, young one. I feel how warm the sunlight, as if I can once again see.
Perhaps you never had the means to pardon yourself in your final moments.
Speaking in Ursine, may yet Ursus forget you, Grand Duke. Ursus, my motherland.
Sir, the Grand Duke has fallen asleep.
You don't need to tell me. We've had orders. We can only enter after half an hour. Huh. Same home as the Grand Duke. I've heard why you young women are all squeezing to work in this retreat. It's just to seek patronage from important nobles, isn't it? Are you satisfied now? What are you staring off for? Don't tell me you want me to shine your shoes.
No, how could I dare? I am very sorry. Sir, don't be angry. I'll be going right now.
Lowlife.
Paring knives will very easily rust and lead to infection. We'll pay close attention to his condition, rest assured.
Good, thank you. It seems the blood rushing to my friend's head has cost me a considerable amount of time. After he leaves the infirmary, please tell him he has set a light to the blaze in our hearts, and please have him trust his friend Islamwit. But for now, I must be on my way with the messenger.
Safe travels.
just a normal everyday kal'tsit and a normal everyday wit passing by each other. Oh boy, this.
Kal'tsit, we leave immediately. The Minister of Finance will have those bureaucrats, subordinates jumping at shadows. That's our best cover. Is he dead? The time to effect was shorter than I thought. He couldn't hold himself together much longer in the first place. There are countless people who will want to exploit his death.
Pardon.
There are countless people who will want to exploit his death. Maybe them fighting on all fronts will create an opening for us. Let's go. Kal'tsit, thank you. For me, for us, you've put an end to it all with your own hands. It isn't over yet. No matter in what form it takes, perhaps sooner or later we'll confront this empire once again.
Oh boy. Those are words to be said there. Perhaps once again we will confront this empire. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. In one way or another, Kal'tsit. Anyway, continuing on stage 5, titled Reef Steeps Land. It says here, the land encircled by reefs, a place where reefs are embraced. Looking up, Elliot sees no reefs. Are there people here hallucinating? More about that in a moment. Modern day. 3:32 p.m. Clear. Central Sargon, Ebut region, nameless town.
You want to come with? You should know that you are just another suspicious character to us.
Have you inspected your teammates yet? Heavy rain?
Everything's normal there. But I don't trust you.
Yes, very well said. Of course I am not to be trusted.
What exactly is your objective?
My objective is to find out what my objective actually is.
What the actual...
Did you know that the last Lord Amir of Ebut died in a fire? That was a few years ago. The current Lord Amir is his son, and that whole thing caused quite a ruckus in Ebut. I had to find myself a new fairy godmother right away thanks to that fire. Took me months to get used to the work there. Huge pain in the butt. Right, exactly. He was my very last prey. I did all the preparations and laid out my trap, but there is no more prey to hunt. I have nothing to do except to lounge around.
You killed a Lord Amir.
The Sargon army will find you. Wait, hold on. What do you even want telling us about this? I shouldn't have expected any less from one who frequents the black markets. That's right, there is no one who knows I have to do with his death aside from you and me. As for the Sargon army, we live in different times now. The ruling Padishahs simply care not about what is happening here in this barren wasteland. My guess is that it matters not to them whether it's the father or the son that is in charge. Actually, to tell the truth, it hardly matters to me either. I sought his death and nothing else. It was a rather simple request.
What are you after, anyway?
Revenge. I'm afraid it's rather boring answer, so I don't like to share it. If I have to venture a guess, more than half of the men in this world would like to take revenge against something, be their enemies, a city, or even the world itself. For the past 20 years, that is all I have been doing. My power, my status, my riches, all of them come second, and should the need arise, I will cast them all aside. Or perhaps I could give them to this Rhode Island. It's quite the bargain, would you agree? Oh, looks like you are still not convinced, young lady. You are quite cautious. I suppose you were a soldier? From Sargon, perhaps?
None of your business.
What about you, young Bridge? Or should I call you by the name you go by now? Sessa. Okay, I know he's supposed to look a bit more serious here or something, but why does he look so cross-eyed right now?
Sessa, we can't trust him.
You're hiding something pretty important, aren't you now? Oh, yes, right, how forgetful of me. You claim to be a medical corporation that treats the infected. Very well, it's a fairly tall tale, but I will accept it for the moment. I am an infected. My fortunes are no less impressive than the Lord Amir's riches, and I am well connected and hold some sway, enough for me to bring a Lord Amir to his downfall. I will trade all of it for a chance to be cured. What do you say?
You're mad.
I find myself thinking the same question often. But there is not a simple person who walks these lands and wishes not to live. Is it not reasonable of me to want to cast all this aside just for a chance to be cured? Nah, I don't think that's what Heavy Rain's trying to say. You don't even seem to care that you're infected. What is it that you want at Rhode Island? Very well. There isn't much time left, so let us stop beating around the bush. I'm looking for Kal'tsit. Perhaps she will impart on me some invaluable advice. Perhaps she will show me a new way forward. Yet it's even more likely that she won't lift a finger, merely passing the decision back to me. That too is fine. Once I eliminate every last person involved in the incident years ago, there will be nothing more tying me to this place. I am beyond anxious to leave this forsaken land behind. I need a fresh start. And who could blame me for seizing the opportunity if the shadows of the past so happened to be standing right there?
What's your relationship with Dr. Kal'tsit?
It's a long story. I owe her my life. I am very thankful to her. This I say from the bottom of my heart.
The decision isn't ours to make.
3 years ago, the Lord Amir of Ebud perished in a fire during his travels. The fire consumed an entire town, and soon after, his son set off a rebellion, vying for the throne against his many other contenders. That's your doing, eh?
Precisely, just as I said.
Why?
All trivial matters of a bygone era. The family had a tragic, rocky relationship to start. I only played a very minor role. Why do you want to know?
I'm looking for clues. Thanks to you, I gotta call it quits with my investigation in the Ebud region. Ah, clues. Perhaps this is an opportunity for me to earn your trust. Tell me what it is you are looking for. Perhaps I will be of assistance. I'm looking for someone, the director of a Colombian military experiment.
You are investigating a Colombian company. May I ask why?
Because the person I respected the most died in the most laughable accident ever.
And what if it was actually an accident?
Even if it was just an accident, I gotta know the truth. I mean, this could have been the reason those guys rose from the ranks on top of my brother's death.
Sessa.
I know, it's my it's my own personal issue, but this chance doesn't come often. Don't you agree, Sand Soldier?
Pardon me.
Where was I?
Everyone needs a revenge of some kind. Targets can be big or small, and grudges can run deep or shallow, but revenge is an eternal motive to every living person out there. If you permit me to undergo treatment at Rhode Island, I can investigate this matter for you. Of course, the deal we talked about still stands. Even if you have the 10 times the cargo sitting outside, I have a way to take care of it all. There will be no trace left of it, and you will find the price very attractive. It's a bargain for a pharmaceutical company. Sessa, sorry, but we can't let your personal problems be somebody else's bargaining chip.
Of course, I know that, but
Right, I almost forgot. It seems I've been rather forgetful of late. I never thought much of old Isin's prophecy to begin with. However, thinking back, perhaps the prophecy was itself a means of negotiation and communication. Prophecy. Mere mortals will never find themselves on equal footing with time itself. Originium arts may have many convenient uses, but that is one thing you can never achieve with arts.
Prophecy?
Alas, old Isin passed away long ago. I only hope that she remembers this promise. Did she perhaps give you a gold coin? An old Sargon gold coin?
Heverin, Sessa, we got a situation here. Calm down, what's up? There are some sketchy-looking teams approaching the town.
Let me remind you that they are not friendly.
They're closing in quick. We can still get out of here without a fight if we make a run for it now. Take our time and we won't be so lucky. 15 minutes, that's all we have. Captain, Lieutenant, hurry.
Your buddies?
Of course not. I am a lone wolf with no one to turn to. Unlike machines, humans cannot be trusted. That being said, they are most likely here for me. Damn it, this is part of your plan, isn't it? You can help me escape, or we can fend off these unyielding assassins together. What do you say? What should we do? The ball is in your court. Son of a... Last question then. When did you burn down that town? Why did you burn down that town? If you were after the Lord Amir, you had no reason to drag all those people into that mess. You even gave the townspeople the time to evacuate. Did you just want to ruin the town? Redhorn was miles away from your turf. What were you after exactly? Is my objective really so important? I'm making sure you're not a warmonger or downright nuts. You have a point, but I'm afraid you wouldn't understand. All I burned down was my past. Is that your revenge? No. It was a long overdue cremation. Nothing more. Cremation. So, in other words, he did it for the good old two birds with one stone. He killed his target and give his teacher a burial. But anyway, let's finish this off with the after story. 22 years ago, 3:09 p.m., clear. Central Sargon, Ibut region, desert outskirts. Are we there yet? How far away is it? If you're tired, we can stop here. Drop the tough act. It has been 7 hours and 14 minutes since our transport was wrecked in the ambush. Considering your physique and age, you've held up pretty well. No need. Let's keep going. We need to get out of here as soon as we can. Where are we? The nearest town to where we are heading. More accurately, it's a settlement formed of several towns that had been drifting in the desert with their hauling equipment. At the same time, this place covers a large swath of Sargon's no man's land, more than anywhere else. This is the way out for illegal immigrants, bounty hunters, and messengers. Why aren't we going to Minos? I'm still not sure I can trust you any more than those mercenaries. What makes you different? The difference is that you are alive. You already have our next steps figured out, don't you? What are we doing now? We'll look for someone trustworthy to take us out of Ibut. Not legally, of course. Where are we going after that? Lethanian? Bolivar? Before I give you an answer, you must understand that, whatever your choice, it doesn't change the fact you are running away from your problems. You have no way to survive, nowhere to go, and nowhere to run. Are you prepared to accept the fact that your old life has already shattered to pieces? Do you understand it? Are you sure you are not just in a daze from this sudden turn of events? Stop acting so high and mighty. If anger gives you a clearer head, I will be going further north, far away enough for you to leave everything in Colombia and Sargon behind. I have to say, you're done very well. Are you mocking me? Much of what you do is rife with immaturity, and you let your emotions get the better of you. If you were a little older, I would indeed make a mockery of you. Let's go. We need to find someone to introduce us to the black market here. Where do we find someone like that? I don't know yet. So there's stuff you don't know. I won't deny it, but we'll find them very soon. If you understand what the land of Reef Steep means and stands for, you won't have any trouble finding their survivors in the crowds and markets here. They will always help their fellow countrymen. All we have to do is make them believe that that's who we are.
What's that you're holding? Sargon coin? What can you even do with a few coins? You'll know soon enough.
Random guy speaking in Sargonian. Get lost, Colombian.
Huh?
What? Monster, where did it come from? The trust? Damn it, why? I can't hurt it.
What's going on? Monster! A monster's here to kill us! That's a huge crowd. Hey, what's going on? Who's this guy? A bounty hunter from Rouvier. Looks like they're expanding their search area. Quick, follow me. Wait. We came all the way here, but anyone walking down the street could still be a hitman. What's the point of coming? That's exactly why you need to pick up the pace. What I'm saying is you haven't solved anything, Advisor Kal'tsit. These outfits make us stand out, don't they?
This is just a can of vegetables. Why is it so expensive? Our rugs are famous far and wide. Something wrong with our quality? Impossible. Genuine top grade earthenware just once used by the Lord Amir's 60? Down from 60,000. Whatever sold.
There's a lot of people here. Is this where the market is? Why'd you stop? Being superstitious this time? Ah, how rare. It has been a long time since an outsider paid old Isin a visit. Do you wish to take a peek at what destiny has laid out before you? Or perhaps you are searching for a particular piece of gravel in this sandstorm? Am I correct to assume you're responsible for the ruckus earlier? All Isin can tell, dear traveler, you are in a hurry, and trouble follows in your footsteps. Old Isin simply hopes this won't lead to any more trouble in Sargon. You are not from Sargon, no, but you carry a great burden. What is he mumbling to himself about? Let's not waste any more time on him, Kal'tsit. They'll catch up. You fraud! What are you still doing here? Scram! You're mucking up our turf. Enough with your tricks. No one here is going to fall for that.
Oh, right, of course. Also, by the way, they're all speaking in Sargonian currently.
Oh, right, of course. Don't be so violent now. All Isin will leave. All Isin is leaving. Is your master doing well? Has she taken all Isin's advice and pulled out of that deal yet? It will mean nothing but trouble for her. My master, the chief would never listen to your jabbering types in the first place. If any lunatic in this town could just waltz in and tell us how to do business, we might as well set up a suggestion box. Enough chit-chat, get out of here. Huh. Are you okay? It hurts. Please, don't worry. All Isin's gotten used to it long ago. All Isin cannot save them. All Isin cannot get them to come around. All Isin can do nothing but watch as they drew ever closer to their destruction day after day. Please accept Old Isin's apologies, but as you can see, Old Isin is being thrown out of this place. If there is anywhere willing to take in poor Old Isin, that's where Old Isin will go.
Kal'tsit now responding in Sargonian.
Wait. Old Isin mustn't. Old Isin mustn't. Stay out of this. If he doesn't leave, it's gonna be on our hands. Just let him go. She is right. Her master calls the shots here, and she mustn't be trifled with. Let Old Isin leave, kind traveler. Let Old Isin return to his ice-cold home. Why are we wasting time here on this old conman again? At least you can tell he's old. What do you mean? But you can't imagine how old he is.
The sun has set long ago, traveler. You are in a hurry, and there are dangers about. Why waste your time here with all this in? Speaking in Sargonian again. As time goes by, even the greatest Padishah will one day be lost to these sands. His achievements will at that point crumble, and his subjects will scatter across the lands. From the way you are dressed, you don't seem to be Sargonian. Is this perhaps the beginning of a narrative poem? Old Isin is far too old. Old Isin has long forgotten the appeal of poetry. But his servants remain ever dedicated to their duties. They guard the unpopulated desert until a new civilization is ready to stand atop its sands. Until that time, a new Padishah arrives with the will of Sargon to rebuild those lands. Ah, similar stories happen in the countries in the world time and again. Catastrophes, disaster, war. There are a great many ways a city can meet its end, and to find itself conquered by a new spirited ruler, thereby repeating the cycle once again. What are they saying? Is this how Sargonian sounds? 150 years ago, before these golden sands were named Ebut, there stood a magnificent city here. Do you remember anything of it? Of course, Old Isin remembers, the city that disappeared in those great winds. The Padishah at the time gave these lands brimming with sand a name that might seem unfitting for a place in Sargon. Ravesteep. The only thing that remains of it is its name, passed down from one generation to the next, with none of them ever laying their eyes on its lush oasis. Are you its gatekeeper then? Is there anything Old Isin can do for you? We want to escape Sargon, leaving no tracks. Ah, Old Isin understands. Whose attention are you trying to avoid? Not even the Padishah can know of our whereabouts. Who are you? Please call me Kal'tsit. Kal'tsit, Lady Kal'tsit. As Old Isin gazed upon the sunrise this morning, Old Isin stepped back into my dreams in a trance. In Old Isin's dreams, Old Isin was told there would be a visitor who would reveal in the secrets of antiquity with us. You came early. The price is a single gold coin, my fair lady. You deserve it. Just that much. No, not yet. Please hold on to it, my lady. This is a price that you will pay 22 years later. Remember this promise well, for it is worth far more than this gold coin. Speaking in Sargonian again. You have lived in Sargon in this current form for the past 100 years. I suppose not a single moment has gone by where you didn't look back and reminisce your homeland. You are correct, my lady, but the day is different. Stranger Sargonian, you opened the door for us. And yes, I'm pointing out the Sargonian here intentionally, because there are purposes to it. And very interestingly, that Kal'tsit would address the man as lived here for over 100 years. He remembers even stuff from 150 years ago, and that he was in this form for 100 years now. But yeah, let's finish this off with just adding stage 6's description and title here, which is Padishah's Dream. Says, a city full of hope, an oasis that rises in response. Clear, flowing water and adamant mountains surround Padishah. Amidst raucous cries and choking smoke, the dream shall come to its end. So yeah, that is just about stage, so I'm just adding it here at the end. But yeah, Interesting stuff. We have jumped once more to a different timeline, setting up another story that will unfold on Kal'tsits' journey through the lands and the decades. And once more we learn that Kal'tsit likes to cosplay and we will not get a fucking costume. Anyway, this will do it for today's episode. Next time we shall end this narration with the final 2 stages plus the cutscene at the end. But for now, I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next episode. Until then, bye bye.